That sounds sick! This thing gets down! What's up guys and welcome to today's video. This is a lot different than the normal stuff that I do. Today we're going to be comparing a brand new M5 CS, $150,000 retail, to an old JZX100 Chaser. Right-hand drive, just became legal in the USA, and this one in particular I would put a street value of around $50,000. Now if you clicked on this video because you're looking for some sort of comprehensive review or comparison with the new M5 CS where I just vomit a bunch of specs and details and power numbers from the brochure, I'm not your guy. But if you're looking for a comparison between two ironically similar cars from someone that can appreciate a brand new 911 turbo to a rusty piece of 240 with an engine swap, that's me. Now a little bit of background why we're here. So I made that video with all those super rare E92 M3s with my friend Drew, and he had this car. I grazed over it in my video, and you guys had told me, how could you not like the M5 CS? It's basically the same thing as the Chaser you just finished. So ironically, this car makes 620 horsepower, I think like 550 foot-pounds of torque. It's a four-door, comfortable, good-looking performance car, and so is this old 1999 Toyota Chaser. If you don't know what this is a ironically similar car from its era to what I feel like this is now. Obviously, this is not like a crazy performance lightweight model like this one is, but in its time, it came with a 1JZ turbo engine. It was a comfortable sedan, and they sold for quite a bit of money. So my friend Drew, he's got quite the crazy collection. He decided to lend me the car for a few days so I could drive it, see what it's like, and I thought this would be cool, a little thing to make with it. So we'll open up the doors. First thing you'll see, Mike's Starbucks coffee that he left in there. It's got some pretty neat carbon seats. I guess to touch on the differences with the CS versus the M5 comp, this is like 220 pounds lighter. Don't mark my words. Again, I'm not a factual guy. I'm just a drifter, okay? It's got carbon everywhere, cool little CS details. Look at that. That's a nice looking valve cover. Twin turbo V8, gold accents, cool yellow DRLs, frozen green paint. Not a big fan of the frozen color. More of a pearl white guy myself. We aren't comparing a stock for stock car. This is modified. It does have a 2JZ engine that's pushing about 650 foot-ponies. That's code word for horsepower, and I think like 500 foot-pounds of torque. So the power numbers are pretty comparable. I think this car weighs like 500 pounds less. I'm just spitting numbers out of my ass. What you guys care about is the drive. We're gonna go take these cars for a drive and we're gonna talk about them. Never driven this car. I've driven this car a lot. I'm a little biased. I got this thing set up to be my ideal daily. So will a $200,000 street value M5 CS compare to what I consider to be the best car ever? Let's find out. First thing I'll say, get in here, little old man vibes. It's got some pretty high bolsters. Now, you know, I'm a racing seat kind of guy, but I can imagine that some of the people in the demographic that would buy this car would complain about their fannies hurting as they're rolling into the seat. Now, when I originally grazed over this car in my other video, I was very surprised at how many of you guys knew about this car and wanted to see me drive it. And I'm hoping that it doesn't let me down. Just driving around the compound already, I can tell that this is not your average M5. Now, one thing that BMW always has nailed is their steering wheel feel. And by that I mean a lot of newer cars have very, very light feeling steering. I don't know whether this car's hydraulic or electric, but on the cars that have electric, it just feels too light and too numb. This, I can feel the road and it feels good. Now, being that both of these cars are four-door super dailies in my mind, I feel like the first thing I should talk about is comfort. These seats, pretty aggressive for a daily in my taste. Yes, this is the toned-up track version, but the bolstering was a little gnarly, and then it's got this weird like protector thing in the middle that if you sit in the right position, it really doesn't do anything, so it doesn't really hold you in the seat that much more. It's just kind of awkward. It looks futuristic, and I get what they're going for, but I'm not a big fan. I'm driving on a road that typically pulls cars all over the place and is very bumpy with lots of little off-camber and stuff. The car is very comfortable, and we're actually in M mode right now, so it passes the comfort test there. Climate control buttons. It's got a knob. I like knobs. I hate it when it's all electronic. All right, now we're in the Chaser, and I'll tell you right off the bat, I'm a lot more comfortable, given it's my car. These seats, the bolsters are high, but they're also soft, and they're not too high to where I can kind of roll into this thing when I'm tired at the end of the day. No butt pain, no weird thing on my crotch. Love that for me. On the topic of climate control, the buttons feel nice in this thing. They're old school, they're in Celsius, so I often get confused as to what's what. I need to do better math, stupid American, I know. But in regards to comfort, I will actually say that I think this car, even being as stanced as it is, the DS series and the setup that I have on this car feels just as smooth and just as comfortable as the M5 did. It's a little more darty because of the camber. I have some worn out bushings in front as well. But like overall, the ride in this thing is amazing. Because of the front suspension design on these things, it's really hard to make them ride bad, I'll be honest. Great daily machine. Now I will mention I am driving this car right now with the windows down because of the fact that I haven't charged the AC yet, but it usually has good working AC. But the real thing, the thing that I value most in a car that not that many people talk about is the cup holders. The newest BMW I own, an E92, is plagued with terrible cup holders. Locationally, they're great, but if you want to do a pull and have a drink in it, you're not going to have a good time. And you know, I like to take my car to Starbucks often, so we're going to do a cup holder test. I haven't floored the car yet. I'm going to put it in M mode. I'm going to floor it, and we're going to see if the drink moves. Wow, very touchy brakes. I'm not gonna lie. I see a lot of people talking about how fast this car is. I'm a little surprised. I thought it would feel faster. I gotta say, I think they're actually pretty comparable. This one looks like it moves around almost just as much. I will say though, the placement is better, but mainly because it's not manual. If this car was manual, the placement would suck. Not a 10 out of 10, but it's definitely not the worst I've seen. I'll tell you right now, this thing loses the cup holder battle. The cup holder is right behind the shifter, and because this car's 5-speed, you're always hitting it, and it doesn't really anchor. I'm already spilling water all over myself, just shaking with my hand. It doesn't anchor as well, so when you get on the brakes, you get on the gas, making some power, you're spilling your drink all over the place. Not ideal for that. Actually, it wasn't as bad as I thought, but I usually am spilling my drink all over the place. This is just what I'm talking about, not a firm grip. All right, now we're gonna talk about sound. In car, nice and quiet, no complaints, no drone, of course. It's stock. Let's hear what the note sounds like. A little bit of turbo noise, okay. I can hear the exhaust, it's not that quiet. It doesn't have a bad note. I think it sounds better than the R6 Avant I had did, and that's the most comparable engine I've ever owned, being a twin turbo V8. It's not really even fair though to compare this to the sound of a 2J. Again, on the topic of sound, it's hard to compare. This is arguably one of my favorite sounding 2Js I've ever heard. Inside the car, there's a little bit of drone, but the vibrant 4-inch muffler quiets it down a lot. When this thing opens up, the induction noise and the exhaust noise, unbeatable. Woo! Definitely don't have the confidence of the brakes of this thing compared to the M5. They may not be touchy, but I could use some bigger brakes to deal with the power. Looks are subjective. Personally, I think this is one of the best looking M5s I've ever seen. It has the cool little gold details, but overall, I think BMW did a really good job on the body style. I've just never been a big M5 guy. I love the E39s, but even still, I would always choose the M3 over the M5, but frankly, in this generation, I think the M5 looks almost just as good, if not better, than the M3. On the topic of looks, I will say I think the M5 wins any debate. There's not a single Chaser JZX100 that looks as good in stock form as the M5 CS does. However, I think the current rendition of this car with the body kit and the wheels and the lowered looks better than the M5 ever could, even if you modded it a bunch. The Chaser design's really timeless. Now, this car is a trackable luxury car, so it's not fair if I don't take it on a few corners. This car went around the Nürburgring in 7 minutes and 30 seconds, which is impressive. So I managed to source the only 2 corners in Florida. We're gonna see how this thing handles. Coming with a little bit of speed. Not bad. See the brakes. Hard to modulate, but wow, I can feel the diffs really doing their thing. The induction noise is sick. I will give it that. don't want to push this car too hard. It's not mine, but I'm impressed with it. It feels good. It reminds me of an M3. It masks its size and weight very well. I'd be curious to see what this thing feels like full of people in the back. Did you guys see that? I just drifted and I didn't even mean for it to do that. Oh, I guess the M mode turns off traction control. That was pretty sick. Not gonna lie. It kind of won me over a little bit with that little slide there. That made me feel like a hero. BMW is great at doing things that make you feel like a hero. There's not a lot of crackle and pops either, which big fan of that. If I could start a campaign to stop all the crackles and pops, I would. Now these JZX100s are often used for drifting, not often used over here for any sort of circuit or anything. They are bigger, boatier cars, but I have driven my brown one up in the mountains and it handled fantastically. That one has a bit better brakes and better pads, and it feels great. This one, for being a Sedans car, feels good. The steering is much lighter in this because this was a different model, the Avante. But this car does not win the battle of handling. There's no way that I can make this car ever handle or feel as good as the M5 and still ride as good and have all the comfort that it has. So for my daily commute, it handles well enough, but this car would need to be set up drastically different if I wanted to handle good in the canyons. I will say, when I had mine up there, I was keeping up with an Aston Martin until my brakes nearly caught on fire. It was getting down. Turning radius could definitely be better. Need some angle mods for this thing. All right, we got some open road, so I'm gonna put it to a little test to see what the acceleration really feels like. A little bit of wheel spin. I can feel the diffs grabbing. Now I'm in M mode, so it's a little bit more bouncy. Not as fast as I expected, but given that this car weighs, I think, what is it, 4,000 pounds? It gets down. It's fast enough to be fun, and I will acknowledge that I am aware there's a lot of tuning options out there for these cars that can make them pick up like 200 wheel. Right now, I'm kind of benchmarking this against my RS6 Avant that I had. Similar engine, a little bit less in price, a little bit less race car, but I think this is more special. I like special cars, I like limited edition cars. This has some cool bits that give it some notoriety. And typically, any lightweight special edition car is gonna hold its value better than its normal counterpart. I've heard complaints about the road noise in this car because it has a little less sound deadening and it's a little bit lighter in certain places, but personally, it's quieter than anything else I've ever driven inside. Got the M5 beat by a mile on that turning radius. What's up? On the topic of speed, this thing gets down. It's rowdy, it makes traction, it's great. From a dig, it's obviously not gonna be as good as the M5. It's not all-wheel drive and it's on 235s in the rear. But like pretty much anything from second gear onward, I would wager to say this thing would pull on it, but we're gonna find out later in this video. We'll do one more pull just for fun. God, I love this car. It's so good. This is such a good car. If you had the choice of a car that was set up just like this, even if it had a 1J, and you could put $150,000 in the bank or $150,000 as a down payment towards a really sick home, and then have this instead of an M5 CS. As long as you got the right people to build it, and as long as you're like me and you care more about 90s junk that smells funny and rattles and does, this car doesn't actually rattle a lot, this car's super quiet, but if you don't need the new fancy M5 CS, Chaser's the one for you. But who am I? A drifter? A YouTuber? Brakes are way too touchy, not a fan. Porsche does a great job with this. Their brakes feel very linear and it's not like send you straight through the freaking windshield. These send you through the windshield. Our windows down. Sounds sick. Completely different than the windows up. Feels good on little small stuff around the compound. Wow. This thing gets down. Surprisingly, I thought it would shine more on the higher speed stuff, but on the slower stuff, it actually shines more. That sounds sick. All right, BMW. I see you. I am enjoying this car. Very different. This was cool. Thank you, Drew, for letting me rip this thing. It's got a lot more induction noise than I'd expect from a BMW. I feel like they're always trying to like mask the turbo noise, but you can hear it, it's there. I'm not gonna lie, fun way to spend a Thursday. definitely surprised me. Not as viscerally fast at high speed as I expected. I'm sure tune would help that, but at low speed, it was very impressive. And although it was quiet, it made the right noises, handled great, felt great. Chaser, best car ever. Of course, I'm a little bit biased, but I would say it's very interesting to see a comparison of these two cars. Two things left to do. We're here at the compound. I'm gonna do a braking test since I have a nice controlled environment to do said test. We'll do a quick little like 0 to 60 rip. I think we know which one's gonna win. And then later, for the grand finale, we're gonna see which car will win from a 20 roll. Place your bets. So for this braking test, we're gonna accelerate as fast as we can and then try to come to a dead stop before we hit the fence. Let's see what happens. Stopped better than I thought for not having ABS, but we spun so much that we were probably going half the speed. I'm not the best at these automotive tests, I'll tell you what. I like tugging the fly around. Seatbelts work great.
Hold on, we got seatbelt, bro. Pull your seatbelt on, boy.
Nah, I'm good. What the
It's kind of predictable. Holy shit, Lake.
bro. Yo.
Yo, when that second gear kicks in, it's
Right?
pretty.
Oh my god. Yo. This thing.
Yo.
Yo.
Damn, bro. I like how it's tail
Holy
whip.
sh. So I found that
It's
out by
life.
accident. You put it in M2 mode and it goes into rear-wheel drive.
That's why he didn't tell me I'm too more.
Yeah, you would have been spinning. How's the
Would've
back
been
seat?
perfect.
Is it past the back seat test?
Oh, yeah.
This better than the Chaser?
Yes.
Yes.
There you have it. I held my own up to like 5 miles an hour better than I anticipated. That was fun.
It moves. It's quick.
Yeah.
Like, it kill him, but it's all-wheel drive and it's quick. Didn't hear engine sounds, but it's fast. I'm impressed.
So you guys ready to see Adam get smoked? I'm all about the V8 power, so we'll see. At least in the BMWs, I think this thing is gonna pretty much kill the JZ, so we'll see. Mind you, it's my first time driving this car, so. Not even close. Look at that. He actually pulled a little bit there at the end.
That was pretty close.
That thing hooks! Jesus!
It was way closer than I thought, but I think we got the win. All right, to sum this up, I had a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie. I originally thought the JZX100 was gonna win with flying colors in every single way, shape, or form, but I actually do really like the M5. Sadly, 70% of the entire world would rather have the JZX100 over the M5, but I think if they had actually driven the M5 CS and they understood what it feels like and what the car was, it might be more of a 50-50. It's a great car. Thank you again, Drew, for letting me use your car. I hope you guys knew this video is a little bit different, but I wanted an excuse to drive it, and that was my excuse to drive it. If you guys want more information on the car, you can find it down in the description, and I will see you guys tomorrow with another video. Next up, we're comparing the Celsior to the F350.